Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Contest of Champions. Again, really quick. Maybe if we waited just a little bit longer we would have had more of this information, but the BeatVod _46 put out some more data mined information. We have the images here. Link will be down in the description below again to the Reddit post that he posted. But here we can see there is information for more Spider-Man characters. Mysterio, Green Goblin, and Kraven. So, Mysterio, Kraven, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Vulture. One more. We need one more. Which I guess they could throw Electro in to the mix on this one, and that would make our 6th. But it looks like we're possibly getting to the point where we're going to have a Sinister 6 story. It's a very good possibility. We have already got at least 6 members of the team in there. Would have really liked to have seen Sandman added into this mix over top of some of the other characters. Mysterio, Green Goblin, Kraven, Sandman, Doc Ock, Vulture are really kind of the ones that you see more predominantly as the Sinister 6, but I guess we can, we'll sub out Sandman for Electro. But not too shabby. We have information on all of these characters right now. Mysterio says he's mystical. I never really saw him as a mystical kind of character. He was more kind of techie and illusions, so I guess they could go with that. He kind of seems like he'll be a little bit like Mordo meets Hood, as far as we're gonna get some invisibility and degeneration. So that's kind of neat. That's 2 characters now that will have degeneration. Again, take this with a grain of salt. This doesn't mean exactly that it's going to happen, but it's a really good possibility that it could happen. Kraven. Kraven's one I actually wouldn't mind having in the game. I love Kraven. I've always loved Kraven from back in the old days of watching the Spider-Man animated series. Kraven was one of my favorites. To me, definitely Kraven is most likely going to be a skill character. Slash and Devastate, Cruelty are his special attacks. Special 3 is Hunter's Instinct. For his abilities, he bleeds the opponent with every 5 hits, because you kind of expect Kraven to bleed people. Has to have a medium attack and has Poison and Armor Break after his special of 2 and gains 5 Fury stacks and Cruelty stacks after 2 heavies. He has a crit chance, crit rate. It also deals shock damage, because he usually parries around shock staff. After his special 3 for 55 seconds, dealing 70% damage, and so on and so forth. He has a resistance to bleed, poison, and has a reduction to debuffs, 70%. Green Goblin, another character I know a lot of people want in the game. This is a character that Kabam has said before that they would never put into the game because of the fact that they already have a Norman Osborn in the game in the Iron Patriot. Technically, they could put Harry Osborn if they wanted to. I would have preferred to get Hobgoblin. I always liked Hobgoblin more than I did Green Goblin. But special attacks, Cackle and Slash, Brutality and Insanity. Special 3 is Anarchy. His abilities include Regeneration. So we're going to be getting quite a few regeneration characters. Mysterio as well, along with was it Doc Ock, I think, from the other batch. Immune to poison, has a resistance to bleed and shock damage. That's a first. Shock damage immunity or resistance. Has a very high crit rate and critical damage, and his regen heals 45% over 65 seconds. Can be interrupted if bleed is applied on him. So that's a little bit different. He can't bleed the opponent, and for every bleed stack has a 25% chance to enter Insanity mode, which causes him to gain 20% more attack with every 30 hits. 50% more block proficiency. Can only go up to 35%. He deals Incinerate damage after Special 1 and Special 2, I guess, from the pumpkin bombs. dealing 35% of his damage over time for the special 2, 70% of his damage over time. Insanity mode, Goblin can apply weakness, heal block, or can apply more bleed, incinerate damage, or armor break. Armor break only happens if the opponent has more than 3 armor active. So that would be good against characters like Colossus. His SIG ability allows him to gain 23% power if he gets up to 70 hits. That's a lot of hits though. But that's pretty much all the information that we have. These do work out as well. I did go ahead and factor them in. We have Green Goblin. We have 2 slots here between Ghost Rider and Groot. So I went ahead and stuck Green Goblin next to Groot because, you know, GR. They're closer to each other. Then we also have Mysterio, who would go down here between Nebula and Mordo, which, you know, we found out now that Nebula is here, which allowed this spot to be opened up for someone else. And also Kraven the Hunter would go right next to King Groot and next to Loki. So these do match up with the list, and we're slowly starting to fill up the list more and more and more. If these do come to fruition, we'll only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slots left, and that will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slots. My bad. 6 slots left. That should get us through the rest of the year, though. So we've got up to September, and then we'll have one more month. Yeah, this is basically your calendar of events for the rest of the year. I would think, unless we end up with an extra here and there. I think there's 1 month where we're going to end up having 3 champions that should transition into the game at that point in time. But we're going to have to wait and see exactly how things work out as far as this goes. But if this data mine information is correct, we are looking definitely at a Sinister 6 event where we will have Green Goblin, Kraven, Mysterio, Vulture, Doc Ock, and I guess it just depends. We could throw Carnage into the mix as the 6th, but I personally think it would end up being Electro as the 6th member of the Sinister 6. Just my opinion, but could be fun. I always liked the Sinister 6. I've always been a huge Spider-Man fan. I really have been. I've always been a huge Spider-Man fan. Spider-Man the Animated Series and Batman the Animated Series was like my jam whenever I was, you know, little, growing up in the 90s, watching the cartoons. There is so many other characters within the Marvel expansion and the overall universe of Marvel. I just don't want things to get too centered around just being Spider-Man characters, and the latter half of this year kind of seems like that's the way it's going to be. But then again, that's kind of the same thing that they did, and this makes sense. This is the same kind of thing that they did around the time that we had the X-Men event last year. So we got loads of X-Men from that event. Now we're going to get loads of Spider-Man characters from a Spider-Man event, which is kind of cool, especially if they do a themed event each year that brings in characters from different universes. Potentially, that could lead into a possible Fantastic Four in the future. Who knows if they keep doing the themed events like that. Fantastic Four, we would get all 4 of the Fantastic Four plus Doctor Doom, maybe a couple other bad guys from the Fantastic Four. I think that would be kind of neat. That's just, you know, that's future talk. Right now, this is what we're talking about. Green Goblin, Mysterio, and Kraven the Hunter have been added to the data mined list. Whether or not we'll actually get them in the game or not, it's up for interpretation. We'll see. It's a really strong possibility if they're in the files like that for the data mining. So again, thank you for that information, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to this event coming up. But that's going to be it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw, consider leaving a sub on it. And if you do, hit that bell notification button so you get notifications every single time I go live or post a video. Link down in the description also for Twitter. Much more reliable source for notifications as far as I'm concerned. That's going to be it. As always, I'll catch you in the next one. Later.